This video is going to go over a topic known as percent of change, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the percentage that two numbers change by, right? And this can either be an increase or a decrease. So sometimes you will have to not only find the percentage, but say if it's going to be an increase or decrease. Remember, if the numbers go up, it's increase. If they go down, it's decrease. There is a formula that you are going to have to memorize for this, and it will show up again on your formula quiz, right? So the easiest way to remember this is the words that I'm getting ready to show you. Percent of change is going to equal the big number minus the little number, because anytime you're trying to figure out how numbers change, you have to subtract. Big is always going to go first, so you don't end up with any negatives here. That is going to divide by the original number. And then once you get done dividing by that number, you are going to have to remember to multiply by 100, because that will turn the final answer you get into an actual percentage. So it's big minus little divided by original times 100. Right, so I'm going to do a couple of examples with you, and the ones that I do not do in this video is your homework. So you will need to come to class with those completed to get full credit for your homework. All right, for number one, it says on Monday, Jake could lift 25 pounds. 1 month later, he could lift 45 pounds. What is the percent of change in the number of pounds he can lift? Right, so what we need to take out of this is the 25 pounds and the 45 pounds. Those are your two numbers, right? And he's starting at 25 and going to 45, right? So the first thing you can do is say whether it's an increase or a decrease, right? And because you go from 25 to 45, that is an increase. You can use the abbreviation INC, or I will even let you take and draw an arrow for increasing, pointing up. Right, now we actually have to figure out the calculations of what percent did it increase by, and that's where the formula comes in. Right, so we take our big number, which is 45, minus our little number, which is 25, and we divide by the original number. The original number is the first number in your problem, right? Not your math problem, but the first number in the word problem, right? Your starting number. So in this case, it would be 25. He started at 25 pounds, right? And then from there, we would take and multiply by 100. Right? And you can do all of this in your calculator as long as you're hitting the buttons in the right way. So if you take 45 minus 25, that does give you 20. And then take 20 divided by 25 and let that decimal pop up on your screen. Then hit times 100. You should come up with a percentage of 80. Now it'll say 80, but it won't tell you what. All right, so because this is a percent, you have to put the percent sign. It is an 80% increase for him to have gone from 25 pounds lifting to 45 pounds lifting. And that's what we're trying to find, is the percent of increase or decrease depending on the problem. All right, so let's go over to number two. In 2009, Jennifer made $11.50 an hour, and in 2010, she made $12.75 an hour. What is the percent of change in Jennifer's pay per hour from 2009 to 2010? Right, so if we look and find our two numbers, it's not the years that we're trying to find the change of, it's the dollar amount that we're trying to find the change of. So she started at $11.50 and went up to $12.75, right? So in case, or in terms of what we're doing with increasing and decreasing, this is an increase. Her pay went up. Now we want to find out what percent did her pay go up, right? So we follow the formula. The big number is $12.75. We subtract the little number, which is $11.50, and we divide by the original, or the starting number. Her starting number was $11.50, and then we multiply by 100. Right? So if you do $12.75 minus $11.50, you do get $1.25. And if you take that and divide by 1150 and then turn around and hit times 100, okay, you should get 10.9%. In terms of rounding, we want to round to the tenths place, so one number after the decimal. Do not round it to a whole number unless the problem says so. Right? These types of problems we round to the tenths place to make them more accurate. So if you wrote 11% down on this one, you would have to be marked incorrect because that is too far. Okay, so stay consistent, right? And I'll even put a little note up here that you want to round to the tenths place. Okay, and that's super important. All right, then down at the bottom, I am going to do number one of the practice problems with you before we go into letting you practice on your own. Right, so if we take a look at number one, okay, today the price of a new cell phone is $129. In the year 2000, the price of a similar cell phone was $240. What is the percent of change in the price of a cell phone from 2000 to today? All right, so the two numbers that we're looking at are $129. right? That's what the price of it is today, right? And the $240, the price that it was back in 2000, right? So then when we look at it, to go from $240 to $129, that is a decrease. So the percentage that we're finding is how much did the price decrease? And remember, for arrow purposes, you can point down and that means decrease. Right? So we want to calculate the percentage behind this. Right? So the formula stays the same. You just have to put your numbers in the right spot. Big number is 240 minus little number, which is 129. And then you want to divide by the original number. The original number in this word problem was $129. Okay, and then we have to remember to multiply by 100. Don't ever forget that last part. All right, so 240 minus 129 is 111. We're going to divide that by 129 and hit times 100. So our final answer to number 1 in the practice problems is going to come out being 86%. Right, so it's an 86% decrease in the price of that cell phone. So now use the formula and use the examples that I've given you as practice, right? And go through and complete the rest of the problems on both the front and back side of this note taker. We will go over these answers in class and continue to work a lot more with this topic.